mic, Erica. There
Okay.
you go.
There you go.
All right. See, I did my
Erica,
hair.
you're going to be calling the meeting to order.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting officially into order.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right, we're all set. There are no attendees from the public as of right now.
Thank you.
Okay, Delene, did you have any emails or anything to read from anybody from the public?
No, I did not.
Well, I'd like to move to approve the minutes with the corrections or edits that I've already given to Paul and Diane.
I mean, I don't think that there were any corrections. I just can't believe I didn't rebut Chris on his commentary of the trees on Belden. I don't know how I get away with that, Mr. Torrey. I don't know how. It just reads as though we're approving it in a public record. That's all I'm worried about.
Well, I move the approve with those corrections to be approved.
Well, there are no corrections. I mean, I don't think I said anything, so I can't put them in the meeting minutes.
Okay, Erica?
That sounds good to me. I'm just printing up a copy of the syllabus, the agenda rather, so I could take a look at what we're slated to cover here.
Okay, are you going to second my motion?
I suppose.
Thank you.
Okay, so then Paul, do you want to go with the update from Eversource?
Okay, let me pull that up. That basically is an email that was sent to us from Eversource, and I will share my screen. I'm gonna share it. Can you guys see the screen?
Nope.
No.
No. Oh,
How about now?
there you go.
There you go.
This is a list of locations that were specific locations related to some storm cleanup that Eversource had requested to be added to the tree trimming permit. They're not streets like we would normally do for pruning along full streets for reliability. These are specific locations that Eric had asked to have added. And Chris and I talked a little bit about it, and we felt that this was fine, so we were going to add these to their permit for this year for 2020.
I mean, otherwise you have to do a field inspection on every one, right? I don't know any. I mean, I don't know what these trees look like, so I'm assuming that they're all right. But.
Yeah, and we have Eric and Jose can take a ride by and look at them. But this is basically spot locations that they were looking to clean up related to storm activity.
Yeah, I mean, I think I made a comment earlier. I'm watching what they're doing on Comstock Hill. And unless, they've had to ask for permission or you were specific about trees, they go back to their old ways. And they will clear to the sky unless someone says something. And their cuts are not always flush to the ground. A lot of times they're near walls and such, but they're not always flush. And, again, it depends on the crew, I guess. And they're not, pristine. They're not a private contractor. And it's clear. So, but there is a difference on Comstock Hill. There's more sky, there's more openness. It has had an effect. And maybe just as a quick note, I had an issue with 24 Comstocks in New Canaan. Gentlemen, acre and a quarter lot, clear cut everything on the lot, including the 5 trees sitting in New Canaan.
Is that? Yeah, but they're on private property, right?
No, not the 5 trees. Were on city property. I actually put a note into the tree warden in New Canaan. He read it because I saw him read it. I got no response back. So I don't know if you know him, Chris, Paul.
I do not know him. I know the director of New Canaan, Tiger Man, but I don't know the tree warden.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they cut
I don't know him
4 or
either.
5 nice oaks in the front of the property, clear cut. And that's not a Norwalk issue, but it's a Silverline issue, and the board may follow up with New Canaan.
But everything else that's in Norwalk was on private property, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this was not Eversource didn't do that. This was, it was all New Canaan.
The property owner.
It was New Canaan.
Okay, so I think we're good with that then. Paul, do you want to talk a little bit about the damage to Washington Street linden trees?
Okay, these were the trees that there were some branches that were snapped off the lower branches, whether it was accidental, whether it was intentional, and we had talked a couple months back about issuing letters to the businesses and putting letters on the trees. Well, now with the COVID issue and the restaurants beginning to open back up, we didn't really think it's an appropriate time now to go issuing letters to the business owners or hanging them on the trees with the outdoor dining. So we are going to keep an eye on it. Rich has pruned the trees up higher for the branches that were snapped off and broken off to make the proper prunes. But at this point, we're not going to issue letters and hang them on the trees with the outdoor dining. We just didn't think this was going to be an appropriate time to do that.
They look real good. I walked Washington last week, and the trees look very good. And that was a good choice, Peter, on those trees.
I mean, this is 3 years now. They should start having some size.
The leaf is a hefty leaf, and the scale of it is right for Washington. So
It's a pretty tree.
That said, if anything we do, we'll monitor. If anything is happening in the trees down there, then we'll approach it on a case-by-case basis. But at this point, it's just not appropriate to hand out letters to all of the business owners.
So
Agreed.
it's not in your agenda, but where are we at with Belden and Avalon? It's not on the agenda. But
Back under the illegal cuttings, we've been following up with them, but once again, once the COVID issue hit, we've not been obviously meeting with them. So it's still got to be followed up on. It hasn't been forgotten about, but it's been tabled for right this minute
It
due to the
hasn't,
COVID issues.
it hasn't been forgotten. Their attorney actually sent me an email, but I haven't gotten back to him yet on what exactly that we were asking from them. I figured I'd bring it up to the committee before I replied. I didn't, up until this morning, I forgot we even had.
yeah, no, I mean, they're flushing out, and the problem is they look like we accepted it.
Nope, we did not accept that, and they know that they're on the hook for a fine. Paul and I had talked about them donating money to the replanting. I mean, the trees are already, so we can't turn back time now.
I think personally they need to be replaced. That's my opinion. We can't let them get away with it. And they could be much smaller, don't care. But letting this be okay, not really great. They did a lot of damage.
Got their own pulse on it.
So, I mean, that's, I don't know what the other committee members feel, but I don't think we can let them get away with it.
Well, Chris, what was the nature of the email?
Paul and I had talked about, exploring things that they can do to kind of make up for the claim stupid that they couldn't do it. But we hadn't really discussed much after we went there. After Paul and I met, I did get an email from the property manager that their attorney wanted to know what the city was looking for in terms of either replacement or damages. And Paul and I, through the COVID thing, haven't really discussed it since.
Yeah. I mean, if they simply replace them, that's all I'm looking for, personally. If they're taking money and putting it elsewhere, it doesn't necessarily solve the problem of the visual damage they do to every contractor that goes by.
But is it, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but is it because that you have to do with them? Are you speaking in terms of the whole committee wants the trees replaced, or are you speaking?
This is my opinion as a committee member. Now, what the rest of the committee feels, they can state clearly. I think they need to be replaced, and I don't care if there's any restitution beyond that. I mean, the cost of replacing those trees is more than you're going to hit them for in a fine. Those trees are going to cost them $1,000 to take out each and $1,000 to put back. So unless you're going to hit them for $30,000, they're looking at maybe, what are there, 8 trees, Chris? They're looking at $16,000 worth of effort there.
You also have to be consistent, Peter, with what we've done with other illegal cuttings throughout the city. We've never made someone take down a tree for an illegal pruning and then replant another one.
And that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. And I don't necessarily mean that it's precedent. Because
Honestly,
other trees that were cut were not necessarily topped like this. I mean, it looks like hell.
Well, we should move on if we're gonna deal with.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move on because we have 1 hour and we got 15 minutes left.
All right, move on.
Next item on the agenda.
Okay, so you already began to touch on illegal cuttings. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Nothing, basically, my report was going to be there's no new illegal cuttings, and Belden is still being worked on, and also down on Dock Road, but they've been tabled for now because of the COVID issues. That was going to be my update.
Okay, fair enough. And then, you and Chris can work on responding to that company, how you guys see fit. Tree planting program update. Who is going to talk about that?
Okay, I can talk for some of the stuff. Lori had 5 trees that she was looking to have done down on Woodward Avenue. We are going to do those trees as long as we can get those right of entry agreements signed. If we don't get those, then they'll get pushed off to the fall. Rich had also found locations down on Calf Pasture Beach Road that he thought there were 4 good ones that he staked out that we could go ahead and do now. I've got 2 other ones, which I'm going to share my screen right now with you for pictures down at the police station. And can you guys see the screen?
No,
We still see your other screen from
the Eversource.
Eversource.
Okay. How about now?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. There's a small train. I'm going to blow that up just as soon as it lets me get back up to the top of the screen.
Oh, it's a pin oak with no top, right?
Yeah, basically, this has an area that is, the tree right here in this area is not in the greatest of shape and there's no top to it. So after I talk with the police station, the deputy chief to the chief, we're going to see if they have no problems with us replacing those trees. That's one. And there's another one that we are also going to do too, which I will pull up now.
Is that a pin oak?
And there's another view of this same one that I was just talking about. You can see a little better view of it, that it's in pretty rough shape. And then the third one, which is actually the third picture, it's actually going to be the second tree we would be looking to plant, there is a tree over on the side that you can basically does not have a leaf on it, this area right in here.
So Paul,
That tree, we were going to replace that tree also.
is it the way they're planted? You think that they never grew?
Not really sure. I mean, it is a lot of concrete and asphalt out there, but they do have fairly decent sized tree pits. You can see the edge of the tree pit all the way around in here. So we were simply looking to replace these and try and put something better there in the police station.
I mean, the pin oaks are a great choice for that location. I don't know why they're not holding. Who takes these out? The city, then the contract puts the new ones in?
Yeah, that's what we would do. We would either have the highway operations do it, or we would have it done through the contract.
So I'm just saying, maybe the tree taking these out, maybe there needs to be more excavation in the pit. Because if these haven't done well, there's something going on below ground.
Yeah, which we've got to look at because there are utilities over in the area and everything else. So when we do it, we'll take a look at what's going on and why.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe if the city takes them out and takes the soil out with them, the contract has to add a few dollars and put soil back in with the trees.
Better soil, exactly, which we can do through the contract. And Olmsted's done that for us before.
I mean, those pin oaks, the ones in the middle of the plaza are doing great. So.
Yeah, these are a lot better. The replacements, Olmsted has worked on several of the replacements already, and they are looking at doing that one down on Washington Street. We have told Gary that we need to coordinate that because if it's going to be done, it's got to be done very early in the morning. It can't interfere with the restaurants or any of the business going on Washington Street now. And that's about it for tree replacements right now.
Okay, do you have any good news
And new
about
planting.
the tree budget?
Tree budget, we've got very good news. The Common Council approved back on May 12th the $65,000, and the mayor, planning commission, the whole group. So right now, the budget was approved at $65,000 for next fiscal year, starting July 1st.
What about the tree? That's great. That's wonderful news. What about the budget for the tree budget for recreation and parks?
That I'm not sure of. I'd have to check on that one. I can take a quick look, but I can get back to you on that, Andrew. We're going to move on to the next item, though, because we've got a few things still to go. I can check on theirs and let you know next month.
Okay, the next two items, just Rich and I were going to just very quickly tell you that we try to continue to observe Arbor Day at some level, even though we had to abide by social distancing and other CDC regulations. We were still able to plant 2 trees on the West Campus at Norwalk Community College for Arbor Day. And I put together a lesson plan using Dr. Seuss's The Lorax for the Cranberry School that we were going to host the event.
My favorite.
So it's awesome. So so we, try to have a virtual Arbor Day, if you will. The trees were planted by the crew at one of the gentlemen at NCC. He did it by himself, which was at least 6 feet away taking pictures. And obviously the lesson plan I submitted was done digitally.
Erica, the NTA has about, I don't know, 8 or 9 copies of the Lorax. And I'm happy to, on behalf of NTA, to give them over when you do have a program. You can give them out as prizes or something like that.
That would be absolutely awesome.
So
Thank
just
you.
keep that in your mind and so
Yep.
on.
Thank you. And then I think that brings us right to you, Andrew. Anything to report on the NTA?
Yeah.
Andrew, excuse me for 1 second. I can answer your question. It was $50,000.
Oh, 50,000.
Yes. I just checked and it looks like it was 50.
I just got to move for a minute. There's somebody lurking around my house.
That doesn't sound good. Chris, how come you get to get a picture now?
It's I'm having a house painted and they've decided to start now at 5 o'clock. Anyway, so I'll go out there in a minute. Good news on the for the NTA, the 6th taxing district, Rowayton, gave us a grant of $3,000 to plant trees in Rowayton. I think we had asked for 5, but they gave us 3, and I'm very happy about that. Hopefully, it'll be a continuing program, just the way the 3rd taxing district is. And the 3rd taxing district gave us, also awarded us $2,500 for next year. So with the East Norwalk and Rowayton, we're really being able to plant a number of trees in 2 shoreline communities that could really use it. So I think that's really good. I put down this Legacy Trees program, and here's the idea. And probably the better name is Memorial Trees, Norwalk Memorial Trees. And the notion is that with the number of people that have passed in Norwalk and in Fairfield County, and it's over 1,000 now, the idea is to mount a program and looking forward to coordinating the 3 tree organizations that we have here in Norwalk. NTA, Erica, you're the Norwalk Community College Tree Advisory, and this organization, the Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee, coming together and putting together a program called Norwalk Memorial Trees, whereby we provide trees, and we'll talk about how that's costed out or how that's paid for and so on, to people who want to plant trees in memory of loved ones that have lost. So the program is really not motivated by planting more trees in Norwalk. We have a number of those, but really helping the community come together to mourn, to grieve, and to identify people who have lost. And this is particularly, I think, would be resonant because there's a number of people who have passed and are not able to have funerals. And I think this would be a
So
good.
Andrew, how do we record this or commemorate it?
I
In
don't,
other words,
I-
where's the recognition of this I plant a tree on the street and it's a memorial of, Joe Smith. Well, how do we know that?
I don't know what the details are, but what we would do is we'd go out and reach out to the community and tell them there is this program that if you want to provide a
But I'm
tree.
saying the recognition, would the NTA have a website that says, legacy trees,
It could
Joe
be
Smith Corner of Belden and Maine?
it could be through the NTA, it could be through the city. I don't know. It's just a seed of an idea, and I think that we can look into all of those. What do
Would
you
you
think?
put a plaque on the tree or something? A plaque maybe?
I think there's.
You know
I
how they
think-
do, how they put plaques on benches?
That's what I'm trying to avoid, Erica, because the
Well,
main.
it depends on where it is. The trees, if we plant it on city land or something like that, a city property, yes, that would be right. But a lot of people might want to plant it at their homes. What I envisage, whether it's an organization or an individual, identifies somebody and say, we'd like to plant a tree for this person. And this is where we'd like to plant it. And they would pay for the cost of the tree and the installation. And we would use our negotiating leverage with nurseries and, including Corvilles and so on, the appropriate tree. And we would give them, we design a certificate of that information. And if they want a tag on it, we would also be able to do that. Some sort of thing that's tasteful and permanent and so on, with their name and so on. And I think that we could also get the the Hour and other media to put that in and announce it. So
Would you guys take the initiative on that, Andrew?
excuse me?
The Tree Alliance take the initiative on that?
I'll take the initiative on it. I haven't discussed it with the tree, discussed it with a few people, and we have a NTA meeting on Thursday. We'll see that. But Eric, I'm just wondering if that's something that your tree advisor and your students could get involved. Would they be interested in helping to plant that? I mean, I've always seen your students as being just the way they were in Rudner Court, being able to be proactively involved in that. And I've always thought that what a perfect idea to have the Norwalk Tree Corps from, which is the students at NCC, and something I'd like to discuss with you, not here, but offline.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I keep thinking about it on the other end of the spectrum. We have a city contract. Trees are what, 8 1/4, Paul, for the large trees? I mean, why?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's with the contract and the 2-year warranty and the
Year
maintenance
warranty. So if you actually want this tree to be in a real place and really get it present, the option of going through the contract, Andrew, to me would be the first place to start. It's a lot less angst for you as well.
Yeah, well, realize that we're doing that. The Tree Alliance already has a contract with Corvilles,
Okay.
plant trees, so we could do it either way. I don't know. I'm going to look into it.
All right.
I'd like to spend some time with Paul talking about how the city could get involved. Chris, do you have any ideas? Do you have any thoughts on this, and whether the city could be a co-program of the nonprofits and the city? I'd love to have that. I'd love to have the city as being part of it.
Yeah, I could definitely speak to Lamont and George Serenides, the chairperson of the Public Works Committee, and Lamont, who is the head of, I forget what he does, but he's the community liaison with programs like this.
Well, can I put some thoughts together and share it with you and Paul? and then
Sure.
with Erica, and to see what you think the appropriate action the city and the college could take, and I'll explore that with NTA and so on.
Absolutely.
I'd rather see it, I'd really like to see it as a city, and I think the mayor would love this, because it's a way that the city can have public expression of recognizing the people we've lost and our will to create a memory for them, a sustaining legacy. That was the idea of legacy tree, a sustaining legacy. And I don't think,
And even if,
and I think it,
We're not here to take your call.
Andrew,
yes,
and even if it's not something that takes off on a large scale effect, what we could do is just talk with people and see if they could do some kind of a memorial planting and dedicate it, like you're talking about, to the people who've passed away from here in Norwalk too. That's another option.
I think
I would like you to think
whether
about,
it's COVID or not, it's going to get
All right.
real resonance in the community.
so I would like you to think about a dedicated website, because the idea of memorials in the ground, I've always spoken against it. You know, Litchfield Green has like 40 tree memorials in the ground. Only half of them actually have trees. It looks like a cemetery sometimes. So the idea of when you build this, Andrew, how do you build a memorial website perhaps? Or some location in City Hall where these things could be documented, but avoidance of the little plaques on the trees, which don't last long term and get forgotten, and Chris and the maintenance crews hate them. So that's my 3 cents on the physicality of it.
You see, I don't see this necessarily. I see this on private property. I think an institution
All right,
has land and a landscape might want it. Homeowners in their backyard or in their front yard,
Okay.
or on a public property as well. That gets a little more complicated, Chris. But so I don't see it as an extension of the city contract. I see it as a new program.
all right.
And I think we can explore it, and I think we can also explore looking for a funder who perhaps provide matching funds. Let's say an individual wants to put a few $100s in, and it's the matching funds to, we'll have to create a structure of costs and what the trees are and so on.
So then, Andrew, you want to put an email together then and share it with
I
Chris
will.
and and Paul and whomever, and see how we can kind of go from there. I mean, it sounds like a great idea.
I appreciate that.
After, just working out the details.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, is there any update for, oh, you just did the legacy trees. Any new business? Any other business, guys?
We're talking Belden or no, Paul?
I can pull yours up. Yeah, why don't we do that one? I'll put your pictures up that you had for the plantings on Building Avenue too. That one. All right, I'm going to go with this one first. This is the existing, I believe, for the existing conditions. And Peter, I'll let you kind of walk through it, and I'll highlight what you're talking about.
No, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's more designed as a work plan, so the crew knows which ones to take out. The question I have is, do you need more substantial documentation to say why you're taking them out? This is all public notice. There's a whole process here, is there not? Or can we just do it?
So it looks like, well, technically, if they're 8 inches, they're supposed to be posted.
I mean, I measured them by eye. So if you look at the list I gave you, I actually gave you the sizes on there. If I have to go double check with the caliper gauge.
Yeah, it's right on. And let me just, can you guys see my screen or no?
No.
No.
Okay, let me share it again.
I mean, there's 3 you can replace right now. There's nothing in them. We see Erica, we don't see the screen. Anyway, you all got PDFs just the same.
Yeah.
So,
That's it.
There it is.
okay, so that's the planting one. And
All right, that's the planting. Let me get you the other one.
well, that's good because you can see where they are. That A location is Zelkova, which is doing okay. So unless you guys tell me you really want to take it out, I'll
How about that one? Do you see the one with the letters on it?
See no, you got the oaks and the London plane trees. Now, Rich and I originally talked about using pin oaks instead of red oaks. And I'm just thinking, today I had a long conversation with DOT on the Westport trees in the Merritt Parkway. And they reiterated the fact that red oaks are pretty good urban trees. Whereas here, I was more worried about the pendulous branching on the pin oaks on these city sidewalks. And then that's more maintenance for the city to go back every year and lift them up, like in front of the police station. So I'm not necessarily married to red, but I made that change. Rich might feel differently. And then we're mixing them with the London plane trees. You know, they're both big, durable trees.
Yeah.
That's a harsh area, so.
So pretty much every location that's got the letters next to it, I, J, and K, they either have no trees in the tree pits, E and F have no trees, and then the other ones would be taken down because of the types of trees that they are or the conditions. Is that correct, Peter?
Well, you know, I've got stunted growth. I've got one with a girdle tree grade. I got one with a dieback in the crown. I've got one standing dead. And I think of the list here, I've got about 5 of them are over 8-inch caliber. So you'd have to post them, and then.
So they would have to be posted.
I don't think you get any argument.
And then you'd replace them with what's on the screen now.
Right. So the question is, if the contractor can't do it before June, which is looking very slight, the red oaks they are full hazards. So the question is, can he locate the 4 red oaks now and have them held at where he buys them? That I'm sure you can make an arrangement to hold them. Hardscrabble Farm, I think, is where he gets a lot of his trees.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Gary because we got this morning. So I'll send this to Gary and see if he can get them and how soon. And if it gets to be after, the 10th of June or so, then we're probably going to end up having to push the oaks off.
I mean, this is a fairly easy planting. These trees are not hard to get. If the wanted to switch them all out to all plane trees, that would be okay too. We're just trying not to do a monoculture.
Yeah, well, I'll talk with Gary in the morning, and then we'll see if we can't get these in as part of the tree planting.
Yeah, pin oaks actually would be okay in the fall. It's the one oak you can plant in the fall if we had to make that. To get it done versus next spring, the tree switch out would be fine.
And this would really make a pretty good planting between these 10. You've got the 4 down on Calf Pasture Beach area that Rich gave us. So you got the 14, the 2 down at the police station. If the chief is okay with that, that would get us at 16. And the 1 replacement on Washington Street would put us at 17 trees for the spring planting, which, considering everything that went on, is pretty good.
And the Wall Street Association, I would really appreciate it. I mean, they've worked really hard. They put tree guards up. They planted all the vinca in the tree wells out here 3 weeks ago. So, I mean, they're really pushing on an independent business level to at least keep the street here clean. I don't know if you've driven up Wall Street recently, but all the trees,
I was there today.
All those trees west of the river are underplanted with ground cover, and most of them have the little temporary plastic guides on them. So this would help. This would help anchor down Wall Street.
Nice.
Because it really looks quite abandoned right now. Between the laundromat and city market, I mean, it's awful.
Okay. Any other new business, guys?
No.
Okay. Well, then I call to adjourn the meeting.
Adjourn the meeting. Adjourn the meeting. We did well.
Right on. Stay well.
Need a gavel.
We have time.
And
we have time.
We will let everybody know if we're going to do this again next month for the meeting next month, or if it's going to change, and we'll send out the notifications like we did this month.
I mean, I would say lock in the time if you can, Paul, a month in advance. Whatever you can do on your end with the city.
Sounds good, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Be safe.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
And Eileen, I'm not filing anytime soon.